flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to hopefully another fun school year for us, and look forward to bringing our students back here in a couple of weeks. And let's see what I have on my agenda. There it is. Got my- All right. Can everybody hear me now, I hope? So if not, I probably won't need a microphone, but before we start our public,
that's on. Is that on?
Can you hear through the microphone?
I don't hear it.
I don't hear it.
Is it turned on?
I'll plug it.
Now he has a green light.
I got the green light.
There, I heard it. It's on now.
Okay.
Everybody's clicking and clapping.
Good evening. There we are. Well, good evening, and before we get into our public comment, I've got a quick statement here I want to make here. Just to let everyone know that since the beginning of 2024, we've had a great share of many hot button topics, which has produced a good amount of public input, which we've all been listening to. And I appreciated this, as well as I'm sure that the board feels the same way, having folks come and express their thoughts on matters that concern the education of students and matters here in our school district. There were remarks at our last June meeting where we were acknowledged for our work and decisions that we make here, and I appreciate those who mentioned them. So as we begin a new school year with tasks and challenges and conduct our business, we're going to take some steps so that public comments are done in an orderly and an efficient manner. Going back to our last meeting in June, I do ask that you do respect us and follow the current policy that we do have in place for your comments. We ask that you please keep comments to 3 minutes, and when you hear the signal, we ask that you do wrap up your comments in under 30 seconds. And if this is not done, I'll ask you to be seated. The public comment session is not a question and answer session, but where you have a question or concern, we'll address this at a convenient time. During these meetings, we ask that you do not interrupt while we're in session, and if you do have questions regarding the business we are conducting, we will be available afterwards to speak to you. Please follow the rules and narrative from the public comment section on tonight's agenda. As I'm about to read it, as a board president, I will speak on the board's behalf to get things settled. And if it does continue to get out of order, I will gavel the meeting for either a recess or a possible adjournment. So on that note, we'll go into our public comment session, and the chair will recognize any resident or taxpayer of the Sayre Area School District wishing to address the board about title programming or any matter of concern or interest properly raised in the public session. We ask that you give your name and address and the subject of the contact you will be addressing. It is requested that your comments again be kept to 3 minutes. Moreover, please note that comments relative to private student or employee matters should be directed to the superintendent outside of the meeting. So on that note, if we have anyone that would like to give comment or concerns, we'll take them at this time.
I'm not sure if that's on anymore.
Just the,
I have a big mouth, doesn't matter. 30
just hit the
seconds.
button.
I just wanted to say thank you for sending me to the conference in Tennessee. I came back pretty excited for a school year, tons of ideas. I think the biggest thing that I was excited about was a class that I ventured into that I wasn't signed up for until I realized I was in the wrong spot, but I stayed because I liked the topic. It was about school culture and how to improve that. So that conference was very beneficial, and thanks admin and the school board for sending me.
Thank you, Mrs. Romberger.
Mr. Romberger, thank you for attending. I
Oh,
look forward to connecting and hearing about it.
I was in a room with 2,800 kindergarten teachers, so it was kind of fun.
Bet you it was just like a classroom.
Did you take a picture? Right, that's it. Did you take a picture of that 2,800 all together?
Well, I have a picture with Jack Hartman I got to meet and sit with, and and Jerry Brooks that I got to sit with for an hour and talk to, and like a lot of the greats of my career of early childhood, so, it was a ton of fun. And I came back with a lot of great ideas. A big credit card bill from T-Mobile to put in my classroom, but I had a lot of great ideas.
Thank you once again, Mrs. Romberger. Anyone else that would like to come before the board? Mr.
Yes.
Shaw?
James Shaw, Sarah. I just have two quick questions. Are we, as the public, allowed to talk about the merger feasibility study that's on the agenda?
You can make comment on it.
Are you guys doing a public discussion?
Yes,
Just between the board, right?
yes.
Not for citizens? Okay. And are we allowed to speak at the end of the meeting? I just want to clarify, you just read that whole,
So the current policy is not, it would be, once the policy is approved tonight, then it will be in effect for the next meeting, the next board meeting that you hold, special, private, special or public meeting.
Okay.
so tonight, can't speak at the end of the meeting.
No, but we will be available.
Okay.
Mr. Shaw, if you need to speak with
That's all I
us.
want to know, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else that would like to make a public comment or concern during the session? All right, we'll go into our consent agenda. Number 2 is the minutes. We'll recommend that the board approve the minutes as presented. In instruction, we do have a motion to approve some conference requests as presented. We also have in item B, on MOU, a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Sayre Area School District and the Sayre Area Education Association regarding implementing and operating a behavior modification room and in-school suspension classroom at the high school building, as presented. Also an agreement in letter C, a motion to approve the agreement between the school district and the Sayre Area Education Association regarding the 24-25 start of the day for bargaining unit members as presented. Another MOU between the Sayre School District and St. Bonaventure University to provide clinical placements for school education candidates as presented. Athletics. Athletic personnel will have a motion to approve the athletic personnel as presented. In the finance, under number 5, the transfers, a motion to approve the transfers as presented in your packets. The treasurer's report, a motion to approve that. Also, the Berkheimer tax report, as presented. And also a written agreement to approve the agreement between Concern and the Sayre High School for the 24-25 school year as presented. And we have a number of district personnel under there to hire as well as retire. And also the appointment of board secretary, a motion to approve Mrs. Deborah Jaco as secretary to the Sayre Area Board of Directors as per section 404 of the Public School Code. 49, the board secretary shall be elected in a term of 4 years, beginning with the first day of July following such an election. So the term would run from July 1st of 2024 through June 30th of 28. Number 7, first reading of the policies. There's a number of policies for first reading. You'll see the file of attachments there of all the policies that are up for first reading, as well as the final reading. In letter B, the motion to approve the final reading of district policies, which include public comment and board meeting, as well as a sign-in sheet that will also be presented. So on that, do we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Ron, the only thing I would ask the board, and for consideration, should we have the 2 items that are associated with the bargaining unit, should they be separate votes? I just put that on there, just given, I mean, I don't have any particular recommendation, just put that on the table only because of, the fact that it's associated with the bargaining unit. Anybody have any?
Maybe conflict.
The one is a renewal, to what we had.
Well, I don't know, I just,
So you would rather have it for a vote then?
yeah, I'm just saying, should those, I mean,
One's a renewal of last year, we're just renewing it, the other one's new.
Yep.
Yes, we could roll call that one.
it just may be worth doing.
Okay, so that would be letter,
Is that C?
I'm not sure which one.
6%.
No.
Letter
the
C?
agreement with
Oh.
the bargaining unit agreement on the start of the school.
okay,
year.
I think
that would be letter
it's
C.
C, I think it's C. I think, maybe not, maybe not.
In fact, Dr. Delosio, could you explain that a little bit more for people as far as for this agreement?
Absolutely. So it is a brand-new agreement. Probably throughout the course of the year last year, I had conversations with multiple educators in our facilities, and they were expressing about the length of the student day, as well as really looking for common planning time. I think the only individuals that had common planning time for most periods were probably grade-level teachers at the elementary school, not necessarily the specialists that support their grade level or classroom, whether it be the reading specialists, the special educators, and over here at the high school level, the content area teachers, along with the special educators that don't have a common planning time. So we did look at things, and we thought about having common planning time everybody in the morning. It's quite an early start if we do that, and run 7:30 to 3 for our educators. Mr. Roy and I met, and we dialogued about some of the concerns that had come forward and some ideas and thoughts, and so we can still get the majority of people at a common planning time, but give our professionals some flexibility and choice with this agreement that Mr. Roy and I came up with. I think it's a good option for our educators. It gives them the opportunity to collaborate with their colleagues and select their time before the kids or after the kiddos go, or in, a little bit before and a little bit after. So it gives them that freedom of flexibility in what I call what I would think would be professional and professionalism. So we can pull it from the consent agenda and do a roll call vote on it separately, if that's the desire of the board.
So this gives them an
This is
opportunity
also-
to have their planning time before they start their day or after their day.
That is correct. It also gives them, and it is for 1 year. We want to do a trial, but we also have in the agreement that we will meet every 2 months to see how it's going. And so meeting with the union leadership to see how things are going, I think is a great idea.
So as long as we have this on the agenda, then there's nothing that we have to do as far as putting that into a vote, correct?
So if you pull it and you want to do a roll call vote, we'd have to put a new motion on it, so we'd have to amend the
Okay, yeah, we
agenda,
can do that.
and then do a roll call vote, or you can leave it in consent. So that's up to you as a board, whatever you'd like to do.
Like I said, I'm okay to keep it as it is. The full transparency with collective bargaining, that was my only reason for putting it on the table to talk about it.
And you could do consent as a roll call vote. So
Yeah,
if-
except typically consent, it's kind of all or none, right? You're approving or not. You typically want to pull something from it if you want to take separate action on that.
So what's the desire of the board? Do you want to pull it and pull it separate?
I don't think we have to change the agenda, we can just roll call anything that we want to roll call if it's already on the agenda, either one.
I agree with that. I don't think this is
It's already
an
there.
agenda change. It really is just saying, we want to pull it from the consent agenda and vote on it separately.
Okay?
Okay, so,
3C, yeah.
And the other one? That's a repeat from
The
last year?
other one's fine,
from
it can
the
stay.
in-school
The other one's a
suspension room?
repeat, it can
Leave
stay.
it in consent? Okay.
It can stay.
okay. Any other questions or comments on the consent agenda?
I would like to make a motion to remove the personnel 6B from the consent agenda.
Okay. Okay, that's the appointment of Mrs. Lucheko.
Yes. And I would like to table that just based on I would like some more information on, the role of the board secretary, et cetera.
Thank you, Mrs. Blythe. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay, seeing that there's no more questions or comments concerning the consent agenda, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed?
But less those items that we talked about, right? Less the.
Less the,
Right.
yeah, 6B and 3C. Thank you.
Before you move on, may I have a minute?
Yes.
So, since the board just voted, and for the election of, I'd like to introduce Carissa Laughlin, who is the high school secretary. She came this evening, sitting there next to Ms. Scrivon.
Welcome.
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 Thank you.
She started on the 22nd of July, am I remembering that correctly?
Yep.
Okay.
And before we go any further too, I do want to say, one person that will be missed on our personnel list will be Mr. Knowles. Scotty will be retiring as of August 16th. So, like I said, 30-plus years, and like I said, he was a pleasure, and he did some good work here in the district. He was always willing to give a hand, and I really appreciate Scotty, so.
That was the second on my list as well. So Mr. Nobles has done an outstanding job for us. More than 30 years of service. He is the gentleman that has the administrative offices downstairs and keeps them nice and neat. And so whoever takes his place will have to fill his shoes. And so we expect the job to be done just like that. So he does a great job for us. He will be missed, but certainly a retirement that's earned.
Absolutely.
After 30-plus years here in our district, so serves us well.
He is gonna stay on as a crossing guard,
Okay.
So he is staying a part of the family.
He's
He's
still
broken
part of the
into crossing
family.
guard. There you
so
go.
it's no problem to get to volunteer once or twice.
All right.
It's a higher
That's
risk
excellent
position.
news.
Yeah, he doesn't fit in the ring, so.
Higher risk.
I think I saw Mr. Bunker on a crossing guard duty last year as
Yes.
well. We roped him back in a little bit too, so. So do you want to bring those back up for a motion for those?
Okay. Okay, back to, let's see here. 3C, it's the agreement to approve the agreement between the Sayre Area School District and the Sayre Area Education Association regarding the 24-25 start of the school day for bargaining unit members as presented. So do we have a motion and a second?
Motion?
Motion
Second.
and a second. Questions or comments? Okay, Mrs. Lucheko.
We'll begin with Mrs. Agnew.
Yes.
Mrs. Blythe?
Yes.
Mr. Hadlock?
Yes.
Mr. Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Kmet?
Yes.
Mr. Petrini? Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Skirpa?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
There's Mr. Kuchary.
All right.
They made a motion on the
3C.
3C.
Yes.
Move it up here. Item number 8, we have a roll call for bills. Motion to approve the bills as presented for August 5th, 2024. Take a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second?
Motion and a second. Questions or comments on the bills? Mrs. Jacob.
We'll begin with Mrs. Blythe.
Yes.
Mr. Hadlock?
Yes.
Mr. Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Kmet?
Yes.
Mr. Petrini?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Skirpa?
Yes.
Mrs. Agnew?
Yes, except I abstain on number 2, please.
Mr. Cole?
Yes. Okay, discussion items. Next on the agenda is for the Sayre Area School District and Athens Area School District merger feasibility study. It's up for discussion, and so if anybody wants to start first. As far as the study is concerned.
Ron, you want to summarize the committee meeting and what came out
Sure.
of that?
The committee meeting that we had on the 2nd of July, we discussed and that we would decide on a couple of resolutions as far as whether we would be going forward with the merger, or if we didn't go forward with the merger, then we would talk about providing opportunities in between both school districts with joining together. Again, sharing services for educational classes, as well as maybe secretarial, band, extracurriculars, etc. That's what we came up with. So it's basically an all or nothing, whether we move forward with this or if we don't move forward with this.
Yeah, and I think the intent
Yeah.
is that we collectively, between the two districts, develop, at least the discussion of the committee, develop a set of common resolutions that we would presumably try to meet on a common date and take action on those resolutions.
And I think they had shared that the common resolutions would then be shared, have finalized written by the solicitor.
Okay.
Okay.
Mrs. Agnew, anything you want to add from the meeting in July?
You summed it up pretty much. We're just deciding what we think,
Okay.
whether to move forward or not.
And Mrs. Kmetz, I know that you've been serving on that committee as well. Anything you want to add, or?
Yep, I think you got it.
Okay. Any other questions or comments and concerned with the feasibility study?
Well, I mean, I'll chime in. I think the feasibility study that was presented, you know, I was told it would be a comprehensive study, and I think it did a really poor job at the biggest reason why we're here, the benefit of kids. I mean, all of the stuff that was in there from Athens, as far as the course offerings and all of that stuff, didn't match what's on their website. All of the course offerings that we offered, it said in the study, you know, they were given the correct form, but at the time of the study, it wasn't printed. So they didn't even have what we offer or what Athens offers together, and I thought that's what this study was going to be. A few years ago, I think it was 2022, we did a feasibility study of both of these buildings, and I think this study that we helped pay Athens for was a feasibility study of what we already knew of our two buildings and then all of their buildings. It didn't do a comprehensive plan on educational benefit for our kids. It totally, in my opinion, failed at that. If I had to go on that study alone for a merger, I would say no. You know, years ago when I got on this board, we collectively had conversations with Athens to share services. And I'm okay with sharing services with Athens, but it needs to be a true partnership. It needs to be, if I have 6 kids in a physics class here and they have 2 kids for a physics class there, then those 2 kids come to SARE and we teach them physics. If, you know, they have a calculus class that they want to take kids from SARE, then they should be able to do that. That would be a true partnership, but not just dissolving what we have and sending there. I'd like to see, even with sports, and I don't want to get into that topic, but you know, we play soccer down there, we swim here. We got a swimming pool that's absolutely phenomenal, and it's the biggest pool in the district, and we don't use it. If it was a true partnership, why aren't we? And like I said, that's just me personally. I think there's a lot of holes and stuff that have to be answered. Who's going to pay for it? I mean, we've already spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on 2 different studies. What could Dr. Delosio have used that money for our kids?
Absolutely.
For our students.
And Pete, I'll add one, I absolutely agree, it has to be a true partnership. I don't think there's any question about that. Secondly, I can go back 5 years, 10 years, whatever. A study's never gonna answer it.
No.
A study will never answer what's the right direction. What we need to do is get the professionals of the 2 districts talking together to make it happen. That is the only way it's gonna happen. So as far as not being happy with the study, I mean, the study will never answer what we need to have it answer. The 2 professionals, that's an outside group coming in and telling 2 organizations what they think needs to be done. The 2 organizations need to decide unto themselves what needs to be done.
They make money building buildings, that's, so
I
that's,
was
you
gonna
know.
say, so, we could have done without the study, but it's difficult to get teams of people moving forward without something that prompts discussion. And that was a catalyst, not the best catalyst in the world, but it was a catalyst. So the question is, are we interested in the two professional groups starting to collaborate more effectively? And that's what I view the resolution should identify, and we can collectively decide, and they can collectively decide, is it something we want to do or not.
And you know, I really appreciate the work that our, both Athens and Sayres committees, for their work on this merger study over the past year and a half that we've had. To be truthful with you, I'm very disappointed with the way the company conducted this study. Like I said, if they had an assignment put in front of them with a college professor or university professor, and they said, we will have this study done within 6 months, and it took them better than almost a year and a half to even present everything, and I think Dr. Delosio, and I even think if Dr. Stage were here, they'd look at that and they'd say, that was just filled with so many flaws and stuff in there. And I'll speak up about this. And like I said, this company gets an F as far as I'm concerned with the way they conducted this study, because to me, and then to come back and hear some of the comments that they were giving some of the people in the public. I was stunned by a few of the things that they had mentioned, and one of the things that I heard one of the people say was that they believed that the area demographics basically had nothing to do with this study. I don't know that. I'm not an expert with studies like that, but I agree with them. I don't know if they really took a look at it, but it was almost like they were like, well, yeah, we took a look at it, but come on, I mean, did you spend a lot of time with it? Or did you just say, oh yeah, we saw them and they're, and push them off to the side? The other thing that really had me concerned too was with everything that they did propose, one of the things I don't believe, and again, I might be wrong here, but with the costs of this, that they were proposing, I don't even know if they were the actual costs, because one of the things that I did ask those folks was, if they planned on doing the construction down in Athens, where would that leave Sayres students? And basically, they told me and the group that was there, they basically told us they would remain in this building and they would remain also at Snyder. So I'm wondering whether they really took into consideration the costs of the more added costs into their equations and stuff. So, like I said, to me, this was the company really failed us on this, and again, I'm not blaming it all on. I don't want to blame it all on the company, but like I said, this is to me risky, I would say, at the most. But again, I agree with Mr. Skirpon. I agree with Mr. Petrini that we can do partnerships with for our students and to make both bodies a good functioning unit. So, thank you.
I'm just going to add, I think that a partnership exists. I think that it just needs some work, right? I think that we partner really well. I need to speak on what Pete wouldn't speak on, and that's the athletic side of this. Sayre really has been working over the last, I would say, probably 18 months on pride inside of our school district. And really, a lot of it stems inside of athletics. And I'm sitting next to our athletic director, and Mr. Howie is sitting back there. And they can both speak to the fact that they've worked incredibly hard to get the numbers to field teams. And we're able to do that at this point. I mean, I'm looking at, a spreadsheet where we are able to field teams with ease at this point. Co-oping with Athens is great, where we cannot meet those needs, so that our students can play the sports that they love. Some of these students pride themselves in coming to school and being academically eligible to play sports. And that's important. So, I do think that the study was done one-dimensionally, and it was disappointing in that way. I also think that sometimes this partnership between Sarah and Athens is also one-dimensional, and that needs work. We co-op soccer with Athens, we've done that for years. We're working hard to put Sarah back on the chest of these athletes, because that's what's important to them. They beam with pride when they're in parades and they're around town and they're able to wear their uniforms that say Sarah across their chest and their names on the back. So I think that the partnership works. I just think that it needs some, just like any relationship, I just think that it needs some tweaking. I just think that we just need to keep building and working on it. But I think that the pride inside of this district is on a momentum like never before, and it really stems a lot from the athletics and, you know, everything that we're doing to the buildings to make them more beautiful than ever, and the pride that we carry within the community.
I'll agree with you on the pride. My son wore his Sarah sweatshirt to his Athens letter, so. He was the only one there with the Sarah right across his chest. It was awesome.
I see you, Donnie, I see you.
Any other question, or any other comments in concern to the feasibility study?
What is the timing for us to vote on these resolutions?
They've set a date of August 13th for voting on the resolution, Mrs. Kmetz, and,
I believe that should be changed if there's several board members that aren't able to be there. I think this is
That's what they
important, where we need to
proposed.
change the date.
okay.
And hopefully Athens can do the same,
So I
So
really
that-
wanna be clear, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
just for the majority of the board members. I think this is important enough that everybody should have a vote on it.
Do we have to come up with a resolution? I mean, does that, I mean,
No,
do we have
I
to?
don't think so, but,
I'm-
you know,
To merge or not to merge, does it have to
and
be?
that's simple, yeah.
That's
Are we
simple, does it
continuing
have
or
to
we not?
be?
I think.
And then if
that's
it's
the way I
a, if
look
it's
at
a
it, but-
partnership, that could be something completely different, or like
Absolutely,
Ms.
yeah.
Blythe was saying, we've got one, we just need to tweak it, whatever, you know.
Right, yeah, the merger, I think, is simple, either yes, we continue, or no, we don't.
And I think the resolutions are a bit more binding and constricting than
Yeah.
I'm really comfortable with. I'll only speak for myself. But resolutions are very binding to me. Maybe you all have other opinions. I just don't think that they were written, well.
I think in true partnership form, the resolution, we should be able to get to a common resolution that both boards vote on.
Agreed.
That's fine, yeah.
Just a resolution.
Could be two, can be two, can be one, can,
Okay. And that's what I'll send down to Athens then, that, you know, we'll be asking more time and to come up with a common resolution on how.
Well, either that or just a simple yes or no for the merger.
Okay,
part.
yeah.
I think there's more to the other dynamics of the partnership and all of that we need to work with, but I think the merger itself, for the community and everybody's sake, we need to either continue or end. It's turmoil for both communities.
Absolutely.
We need to decide what we think we should do.
and I personally believe, based on the discussions, to go outside the realm of doing that on separate dates would not be an appropriate approach. I think doing that on the same date is the appropriate approach,
And I agree.
which was the discussion we had.
The committee.
Right, yes,
That's
correct.
That's fine, as long as that.
I just think it's the appropriate approach.
And so they had proposed a date.
We had
They
proposed a
proposed,
date.
and we said we would take that back to the board of August
Right.
13th to see if it would
Yeah.
work for our board
Yeah.
as a whole. It's not working as a whole, so we need to send a few dates back to say, here are a few dates to select like from, so, you know, Mr. Cool, if you wanna, you know, collect a few dates from board members and send them
Absolutely,
to Mr. Owen, that'd be great.
I mean, they may have the same issue with the third.
Right,
I have
exactly.
no
That's
idea.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what you and Craig have talked about relative to that.
I think they already have a meeting scheduled on the 13th.
Okay.
Yeah, that's your regular meeting.
That's the right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments, questions? If not, we'll move down to item B, the ELA curriculum.
So I wanted to share with the board, in the community, we had brought a discussion forward to the curriculum committee back in May, and then we brought that conversation forward to the board in June. The teachers were selecting and looking at utilizing our ESSERS money, which we're still looking to do. There's been some discussion around it, some change in mind of what they would like to do. So I'm going to meet with the K-2 grade band and have a conversation with them. The teachers that are in kindergarten, first and second grade have had 2 years of letters training that falls directly in line with the science of reading. And so my proposal to them will be to look for something at K-2 to bring on board with that ESSERS money, and then do some science of reading training for our 3, 4, 5 teachers, and make a decision for that next year and maintain the current ELA curriculum that we have in place, as we don't, you know, we want to utilize that money correctly. And so we still have the money till the end of September available. I will be working with Dr. Tejan if we need to make an adjustment, or I know they're allowing some places to do an extension for those ESSERS money if we need to. We have not had that conversation. She was on vacation, so that's why she's probably looking at me like, what are you having? What are you saying, right? So we'll bring that back to the board, but I just wanted to follow up. We start that conversation in May. We did some more conversation in June as a board, and then there's been no conversation about it since then, and I didn't want to move forward without bringing it back publicly to the board, so I wanted to give you that update. Okay. Questions or thoughts? Or?
Basically, it's going to be a basic curriculum to get kids up to speed, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
So when I shared in June with the board that, and the curriculum committee in May, the state as a whole is moving forward with science of reading, and that train is on the track and it's moving. And Sayre was ahead of that train because we did 2 years of training. Our K-1-2 teachers have been through 2 years of training, I believe with the IU, if I remember correctly, through the letters 1 and letters 2. So they're ahead of the game of the training that they're going to require of other districts to do. So we want to then facilitate by bringing a curriculum on board that supports all the training that they've received for K-1-2. And then 3, 4, 5, want to make sure that they get that training as well, and then for them to make a decision in the near future then. Okay?
Thank you, Dr. Villalobos. Item number 10 is contract renewal. The following contracts were renewed in July of 2024-25 school year between the Bradford County Human Services Agency on behalf of the Bradford Sullivan County Mental Health Program and the Sayre Area School District. Letter of agreement between Bradford Sullivan Drug and Alcohol Single County Authority and the Sayre Area School District, and that's an MOU between the Bradford Human Services Agency as well as the school district. Anything else you can tell us about that, Dr. Villalobos?
You know, these contracts have been in place in the past, and they are, just as you said, sir, they are renewals to maintain these services for our students, and they're great, you know, partners to have.
Okay. Nothing changed or?
No.
No, great.
No, I would have brought them back for a vote if there was a change.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right. Any other questions or comments? Down the reports, high school principal, but no, there's, you've only been right in front of me, Mrs. Ely, I'm sorry. You're hidden behind your
Nothing to
camera.
be sorry about.
Good evening. Okay, I've got a lot of things to report on happening this summer. So we had one student here at the high school that went to the FBLA national competition at the end of June. Maurice Rivera went to Orlando and competed. She reported to me, because I hounded her, when she returned, and she said it was a really great learning experience for her and she thoroughly enjoyed it. Summer school just wrapped up a few weeks ago. Thank you to Mr. Pack, Mr. Roy, and Mr. Nolde for running those classes and spending much of their summer here continuing to serve our high school students. ESY, Extended School Year, also has concluded, so thank you to Ms. McCutcheon for running that here in the high school building. We have 4 new students, they're all seniors, who will be joining the Junior Greater Valley Chamber of Commerce. So that was a partnership that had happened last year, that the Greater Valley Chamber of Commerce started with the 3 area school districts. So we had 6 students in the spring who applied for that opportunity, and then the Greater Valley Chamber of Commerce board made the decision, and they asked 4 of them to join the group. So this year's students are Brooke Romig, Rose Shikanga, Logan Richmond, and Liam Berry. So they will attend monthly meetings, plan fundraising events, make connections with area business owners, and attend tours of local businesses. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to see how they make their mark on the community with the amazing group of students that they'll be working with. Our custodial and maintenance team has been very busy this summer, cleaning and making some really nice changes to the high school building. We have new paint happening here in our hallways. I want to point out that the individuals doing that beautiful painting are 2 of our very own high school students that are working with our maintenance crew this summer, and they are here along with a few other students, and they're all doing an amazing job in those roles. We had a very successful summer rec program that happened in the high school. It just recently ended. My favorite part was seeing all of the older students as leaders to the younger students doing all the activities. It's very refreshing to see them sometimes struggle with the younger students too, and hear them telling them to get in line, stop running down the hallway, all the things that they hear teachers saying all the time at elementary school. But we had lots of current students as well as students that have already graduated that came back to the high school this summer to be rec leaders. And they do really an excellent job with the younger kids, and I just want to thank Mr. Alt as the rec director for setting all that up. It takes a lot of time and dedication to make that all run smoothly. We also have a student who graduated in May who's working with our tech team this summer as an intern before he starts his college classes. So all of those things said, I just want to point out that we have all these students here in the building this summer, lots of them, current and recent grads, working in 3 different areas. And I find that to be a real testament to our staff at the high school building, that these kids want to come back and do those jobs and spend their whole summer here. And I have to say, all of them, when I see them throughout the day, they're so polite, they're so hardworking. They make me really proud to see them here doing those jobs. Believe it or not, new student orientation is coming right up. So that will take place on Monday, August 19th, 5 to 7 here at the high school. So from 5 to 6 is new student orientation, and then 6 to 7 is the open house. So we are welcoming any new 7th graders and their parents, as well as any new student to our building, to come at 5 p.m. that night, report to the auditorium. There'll be a very informative presentation. They'll get all of their information and their schedule and find out where their locker is and be able to tour the building. And then starting at 6, anyone can come on into the building for an open house and speak to guidance, change classes if you need to, tour our building, and then in the cafeteria we will have information on all of our clubs and activities and sports and how to join all of those things. So hopefully we'll see lots of you on the 19th. And that's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Ely. Mr. Howie, assistant principal and dot.
All right, so I'll try not to overload this thing. In front of you, I left a sheet titled Sports Registration for 24-25 school year. Unfortunately, I didn't get the date changed because I did update the numbers this morning. Anybody, there's other copies over there on the table if anyone's interested. There's a whole lot of numbers here. I tried to break it out across grades. A couple of the key things I want to point out. On yours, it's bright yellow highlighted, and everybody else's over here, it's a gray. Just want to point that out for Mr. Claypool. What that is, that's the freshman class. The freshman class and a lot of the athletic groups have flexibility, like if they're not overly experienced or if it's a safety issue, they can maintain another year of modified junior high experience, or they can become a member of the JV varsity. So sometimes when you look at the family ID registration numbers, they look a little skewed. When you open up JV varsity football, it says 37, but 13 of those are freshmen. And where they're gonna land is a coach's decision based mostly on developmental safety and skills. So that explains the only highlight on the sheet. Towards the bottom, the second bold box, where it says Ed Insight enrollment by grade level, that's as of today. Those are the numbers for each grade level, 85 seniors down to 73 seventh graders that we currently have enrolled according to our Ed Insight, which is one of our student information systems. If you take that number, take those numbers of enrollments, the 143 unique registrations, it says 2, but it's actually 3. Over a third of our student body is signed up to play at least one sport this season, and most of them, a lot of them are duplicates, 2, sometimes 3, and with rare occasion 4 with a co-op agreement to play sports. So that number of 142 is the actual number of student bodies, because we had to set a list for the nurse and the athletic trainer to be able to mark out physicals and sway testing and such. So that's the entire school year as it's set out right now. I'm sure there are people who probably play a spring sport who just haven't concerned themselves with signing up, but I would be willing to bet that's a large majority of the student athletes that we're going to have for the year. I did not take the opportunity to compare to last year's total registrations. I apologize. I got a little excited when I saw that, JV varsity football and junior high football says 64, it actually works out to 51 kids. 51 kids out of the 7 through 12 building. That's 10 at grade level. I can run a football team with that, a couple of them. So the numbers were exciting. A couple of the sports, not so exciting. It's just, you get those groups of magnets for those, I don't know how many here want to go out and just randomly run 10 miles for the day. And it's a special person that wants to do that, and sometimes you don't have them in your population.
Just a question on that, because we just approved the cross-country coach tonight. So there's 2 total athletes that are in cross-country between girls and boys?
As of right now, yes, sir. We had a varsity coach and a volunteer coach, and they have had to switch responsibilities. I would hope most of you have seen it. I've seen the press release. One of our very own was sought out and is now the interim cross-country coach for Mansfield University. He got an opportunity to go back to his alum and coach, and came in. I was like, woo, what do you need? Because that's just, if I got a chance to go coach in my alma mater, it would be a hard choice to stay. And he has the opportunity to stay here, do what he loves, and coach there. So that opportunity just couldn't be missed. In the college level, we also have the Horton boy who hit the transfer portal and wound up is going to be playing SEC baseball this fall. So there's a lot of things happening beyond these halls that are very good. On a complete side note, your conversation earlier about merging athletics and everything. My personal history, in my previous life, I hit the school district after they had decided to merge and was responsible for choreographing all of the busing and all that stuff and a lot of the conversations. It is a daunting task, but I don't think it is truly a partnership where you have to sit down and work together. I don't know that it's something that needs to be more than that. 2 communities to say we have these needs and we need to meet them and we have these resources. So, but it's a lot. I wish you the best of luck, and I'm sure we'll be of help in that. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holly. Mrs. Morrell. Welcome back, a belated happy birthday.
Thank you, I'm 29 again. So our open house at Snyder is Tuesday, August 20th, 5 to 7 for all kindergarten through 6th grade students. We're looking forward to seeing everybody back. The custodians have worked very hard and have gotten the building and the grounds ready to go. We're looking forward, Mrs. Ely and I and the teachers, to our new math series, K-8 Reveal Math. Again, parents, if you have any questions, concerns right off the bat, please make sure you contact the teacher. Don't become frustrated with that new math series. Things may look different, so if you're experiencing difficulty or your child is, please reach out as soon as possible so we can help you with that transition to that series. It was very exciting. We met the class of 2037 last week for our 3 days of kinder camp. It was very successful. We're looking forward to seeing them as they begin their new journey at Snyder as well. Very excited to announce, and thank you to Emily Osborne and William Subaru. We again were awarded the $5,000 Adopt a Classroom grant. 10 of our teachers will be able to spend $500 in a manner that they wish in their classroom. So as I receive more information to that, we'll make sure we push it out to Facebook and get that all out there. So again, thank you to them for their continued cooperation and work with us at Snyder. ESY also ended at Snyder. It was very successful, so thank you to those of you that assisted with that. I met with Shelley Judge recently. We're gonna have some additions to our breakfast program that's grab and go. We've gonna have the opportunity to offer our students a hot choice, a sausage, egg, and cheese burrito, so we're very excited about that. I would like to point out that the choices that we do have are not the choices that are available at a convenience store or a grocery store when it comes to what you may consider a cinnamon bun. There's different requirements that they have to meet to serve those. They're whole wheat, so she is going to push some of those things out. They are I don't want to say a healthier choice, but they're a different composition of what's available, and they do meet all the nutritional requirements that we are required to meet through the government. We have some new parking restrictions that are going to go into place at the beginning of the school year. Bless you. Sarah Borough, the Sarah Police Department, and the elementary school are working in conjunction to enforce new parking restrictions. There will no longer be parking along Keystone Avenue. There will no longer be parking along Larch Road or Mohawk Street. The signs will be going up very soon, and they have informed me that they will be out there in force and ticketing. Also, please remember that you are not allowed to park within so many feet of a stop sign. Just a hint, so if you think that you can go past that no parking sign, that's not gonna be allowed either. That walker circle, I think we've got it down to a pretty good science out there. You'll have to bear with us the first couple weeks. It's always a longer trajectory of kids getting used to it. I did send a separate parking letter to our parents that outlined the drop-off procedure, that dropped off the pickup procedure, encouraging kids that are belted in car seats. If parents give them the opportunity, guardians, grandparents, they can do it on their own. They can get in that car, they can buckle themselves. It does hold up the line. We're gonna ask parents, grandparents not to get out of the car. If you need to buckle, there's parking down along the entrance and exit way that you can pull in there and do that. So please, you have a couple weeks to start working on those things. So we're looking forward to that. So that's gonna be one new thing that we have in the Walker drop-off line. I didn't know Mrs. Romberg was gonna be here. She's probably not gonna be very happy that I'm gonna announce this, so watch for daggers behind my back. We're very excited. She, on her own, wrote 2 grants this summer. One was a STEM grant that's awarded through Visions Credit Union, and she will use that money to buy new updated hatching equipment and supplies for the embryology unit that she's done with her kindergarten kids. The other one is through the IR Credit Union. She entitled it Exploring My Community, and it's gonna pay for her to take all the kindergartners on field trips once a month to different places in the community. And she's planning on taking the kids to the bank, the post office, the fire station, the movie theater, the library, the restaurants, and the state park. So we're very excited about that, and just wanted to give a shout out for her work doing that. So we're very proud of you. So that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Morrow.
You're welcome.
For the parking situation, being a Snyder parent myself, can you just please post that on the website, Facebook, just put it out there about the parking situation? Just so people aren't getting tickets the first 2 weeks of school and, just communicating that
It's our
change.
fault.
Because that's going to be a big change.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll give warning.
I think they'll be
Yeah.
more than, like, we've always had a very good relationship with them, but it's just getting used to the fact that it's not gonna And it's safety involved. It's not to inconvenience anyone, it's not to make it more difficult, it's just for everybody's safety. So we appreciate everybody working with us.
I think that's a good idea to put that letter on our website for people to reference if
Just
they
for
need to.
communication purposes.
That's fine, we can put it out there tomorrow.
Right before the year, we do a reminder of last on our Facebook, you can have Tammy put something together and.
I'll put it on the table at open house as well, just for, to
And I don't
reiterate
know
it
who-
again.
I don't know who put the work in to make that happen.
So I'm going to give the shout out to Mrs. Morel, it's
Yes.
just all.
No,
No, but who did it? Yes.
no, that's the conversation that Mr. Claypool and I have had in conjunction with, Mr. Jarrett, the SROs, Nikki Hoffman came up and we walked the grounds and talked about where the signs would be. So it really was, I think, a community effort, just continuing to work well with the police department that we have.
It's much needed, so thank you very much.
Oh, you're
Just
welcome.
another side note for communication, why, maybe ask your educators to announce it at their, meet the teacher, open house, kind of to share it, or maybe post a couple things, you know. I think it would be good to hear it from the teachers as well, it's just reinforcing it.
Yep.
Okay.
You guys can do that as well too, when they come into kindergarten, because they'll be new.
Oh,
So it's
yes,
probably
for
more
kindergarten.
impactful to them, so.
Mine won't be mad, they don't know any.
Encourage them to put them on the bus. If they have a bus.
Big one opening day is a lot of parents like to park in the pull-up circle and then get out, walk their kids to work, and then wait there, and then everything's jammed up because nobody can move.
Take a
as well.
picture.
Well, and I can talk with maybe Nikki about that, maybe first day we can see what we can do to work that out, because I know the first day picture and the whole thing is very important. Yep, been there, done that, missed that, so yes, I will call and talk with her tomorrow about that as well.
Sorry, Mr.
That's all right, no worries. We have our orientation days for new teachers kicking off this Thursday, next Tuesday, and then next Thursday. We had a big group that came through last year, and we really tried to learn from them and pick their brains about what worked and what didn't. And what they said was, please don't do it 3 days in a row. It's overwhelming enough, so we did space it out this year, and I think it works out better for our team as well. We have PDA's professional development days set for the beginning of the year, including, as Mr. Merle mentioned, training for our new math program, Reveal Math. We actually have, I know we added some professional development days to the calendar, and as Dr. Delozio and I work on that, we're shocked at how full they are already. When we try to do professional development along with the state mandated trainings, those days have filled up very, very quickly. And just an update on the flexible professional development days that we put on the calendar. About 25% of our teachers have completed part or all of their required trainings prior to our August date, which is August 16th. So pretty happy with that. And I'm sure we saw a flurry when we first opened it on June 1st, and I'm sure we'll see a flurry before our deadline next week. So that's it for me tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Handrick. Dr. Tejan, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. So I just wanted to give you a quick after-school programming update tonight. So thanks to board support from all of you, as well as Mr. Claypool and Mr. Madigan's skills at shuffling some funds around, we will be having an after-school programming in the fall. So the program will begin on September 3rd, run through the school year, and conclude on May 22nd. Same rules apply Monday through Thursday from 3 o'clock to 5:30. We are going to limit it grades K to 6. Second marking period, we'll open it up to the kindergarten students just because it is such a long day for them initially anyhow. There will be no transportation provided, so it will be parent pickup only. There will be no cost to families. Any interested families can contact Amy Rancourt or Christy Zimmer directly for either more information or an enrollment packet. We are trying to come up with a catchy name for the program, so if anyone has any suggestions, we'd love to hear those. And then that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tejan. Oh, it's 9 now, okay. Small report, guys, here we go. From P. I was waiting for you. This week, PSBA leaders are on the road meeting at various school districts throughout the Commonwealth. I hope that they make it up around their northern tier area. I haven't heard anything from them yet. The PASA PSBA conference is at Kalahari, October 6th through the 8th. If any board members are interested, let the district office or myself know. Again, it's 3 days, and like I said, a lot of information, and it is well worth the time. We'll be voting on a slate of candidates coming up for 2025 for PSBA, September 9th through the 25th. More details to come. I can tell you I met all of our candidates, and they are very good people. August is back to school month, and there's ways to go into sharing your memories of the first day of school in PSBA. And also, check out the revised practical guide to the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act on your My PSBA accounts. There's a brand new addition there. In fact, I know one person that will be boning up on that. So, Northern Tier Career Center, our first meeting will be on the 15th of August, 5:30 p.m. And then the same day, the LPN graduates will be at Towanda High School at 7 p.m. I think this is their 41st class, and the past few years, our alumni from SARE have been doing very well. They've been at the top of their class, so like I said, that's all coming up on the 15th. The Career Center is continuing their upgrades as far as their safety and security around their facility. And a big thing is the fact that our school district has over 40 students enrolled at the North Towanda campus this year, and I do believe this is one of the highest enrollments at the Career Center since I've been here on the board. So I'm looking forward to seeing our kids going down and learning their trades down there.
Do you know what the first day is?
Their first day, I believe, is, let's see, I don't have my calendar, Mrs. Morrell, but I'll tell you it's the 26th. The 26th, yes.
You're never supposed to leave home without it.
It's in my bag. All right, let's carry on here. Blast IU 17, Mrs. Agnew.
I have nothing tonight.
Thank you. Committee reports. Anyone that would like to give a committee report, maybe some goals, maybe something that we can look forward to this year as far as athletics, community relations, whatever, anything.
Ron, you know I'm going to talk.
Go ahead, Mrs. White.
I'm actually not going to talk. I'm going to lend the microphone to Mr. Claypool, who's going to update us on athletics.
So, just a couple of things quick. First off, to piggyback on Mrs. Ely and the recreation piece, just a reminder to folks that Mr. Auld applied for a grant this year that the foundation approved to bring on 2 students that are currently looking to be teachers and are in college to be teachers. So they came in and wrote some curriculum for the kids to follow and do those kinds of things. So that was a really nice add to the program this year. And it, mutually benefits because those kids get some practical experience about stay in line and doing some of those other things. I asked Mr. Ault to get those guys to write a report on that, so hopefully at a future meeting we'll have a little something from those kids. It was the Seth Gorza line was going to Mansfield and music education, so he did a lot of the theatrical stuff that the kids did. And Josh Arnold, who's phys ed, and he ran a lot of the athletic pieces of it for the summer. So really good thing there that happened, and thanks to the foundation for that once again. A couple of things that Mr. Howie had pointed out. First, Randy Feld, our cross-country coach, that is an awesome thing that he's getting to do that at Mansfield. He said it was kind of a bucket list thing for him, so whether it's 5 weeks or a full season or whatever it is, it's a great opportunity for him. So, and it's good for the kids at Mansfield, and it's, good here too, so that's a wonderful thing. Second thing I wanted to point out is 7th grade registration numbers. A lot of those kids are duplicates in there, but I think part of the reason those numbers are higher than some of the other grades is this year, as a reminder, when they came over for orientation into 7th grade as 6th graders, we had students meet with them in each class that came through. It was up here in the library, and Mrs. Ely got together a bunch of kids that not only did athletic things, but other extracurriculars, and so the kids talked to the kids about the importance of signing up and getting involved in those kind of extracurricular activities. So I'm thinking, without any actual evidence of it, but I'm thinking that really made a difference. Last year, I did most of that, and as my wife and kids will say, I'm a monotone talker and don't get overly excited about stuff. So it was probably better having the kids run that, and sitting back and watching it was really cool. And it was also very cool watching the teachers. I remember Mr. Sutrick when he's in here, just each kid going, think about what you want to do, and even if you haven't done it, and just getting in there and hitting those kids, so that's really nice. Last thing I wanted to talk about is next Thursday at 7 p.m. in the Bowl, we're gonna do a kind of welcome back athletic year kickoff for any of the coaches and kids throughout the season to come and their families. We're gonna cook hot dogs and have popcorn and that kind of stuff available for the kids and their families. First hour will just be that. They'll have some, games. Do you want to try to catch a ball from the quarterback, or, do you want to try to chip into a little area with a plastic golf ball, stuff like that. We're going to try to put together, and then the second hour, 45 minutes or however long it takes, will be kind of introducing the fall sports teams, recognizing each team, doing the seniors. Something different. We just thought we'd give it a go, see how it went. It's the first year, and there'll be some goods and some lessons learned, I'm sure, from it. But we're excited to give it a go. So next Thursday, 7 o'clock, obviously you all are welcome to attend. And
that's grades K through 12?
Specifically 7 through 12, but we're inviting like the Junior Redskins and the Junior Redskin cheer and those kinds of things to come out too, and we're assuming a lot of the kids from Snyder will be there with families and whatnot, but the public piece for the introduction is open to community and those Snyder kids. So if you have time on Thursday and you want to come out and meet the sports teams, that'd be awesome.
Mr. Claypool, I also think it bears to mention the PBIS activities that we've started it in conjunction with the high school kids coming over to Snyder, and you coming and interacting with the kids, and we plan on doing more of those activities.
Yeah.
So I think that transition has also helped the kids see the various activities and
Yeah,
things
I think
that they can
that's-
do, and getting them more comfortable with thinking further ahead about what they can do when they come here. So I think that's helped some of it too.
And we've actually picked, I've got to get together with you, dates for the game manager, the game stuff for fall sports, so,
Yep.
yeah. So, yep, thank you for the time.
That's all.
That's everything. Okay, anyone else that would like to give anything from their committees? Okay, then I'm gonna start talking again. I just wanna say, it's good to see everyone back here, board members, public, our administrators, and to introduce ourselves to a new teacher and stuff, or a new secretary, I should say. It's good to see people back, and I'm looking forward to this year. August 19th is the board, right?
It is.
The board is welcome to breakfast, because that's our first day. That's your first day back, right? First day back, okay. Everybody's invited to breakfast. It's on me. But then,
Hey, Mr. Claypool, send the
Yeah,
bill
it's
to
already
Mr.
not-
Cole.
It's already noted.
I think I can afford it, Mr. Claypool.
We have public record of this, right?
But anyway, it's the welcome to breakfast, high school cafeteria, 8 o'clock in the morning, if I'm not mistaken. We welcome teachers and many of the staff members. for the 24-25 school year. And, you know, coming up, we'll be having all kinds of activities, including athletic events, homecoming, October happenings. And if I'm not mistaken, Mrs. Ely, maybe you or Mr. Howie can help me out with this. Is the Bradford County Cavalcade of Bands, are we hosting that this year? I'm not
Gosh,
sure.
let me,
Okay,
I know it's on the district calendar.
okay.
I don't know if we're hosting. Give me a minute and I'll try to locate
Okay,
it.
I'll keep moving on here. Also, I'll be attending the PSBA delegates meeting in Mechanicsburg, November 2nd, starting at 9 a.m. We do have another seat for a board member if they wish to participate. You can either, but you'll need to do that by August 30th. You can do it in person or Zoom it in. I know Mr. Hadlock Zoomed in last year, if I'm not mistaken. So, and other than that, the buildings look terrific, and we'll be ready to go here in a couple of weeks. So, Dr. Delosio.
All right. So I want to thank the board for the support. In June, I missed that last meeting, but it was because I was on an educational leadership trip to Wales, which was an amazing experience to have visited 12 schools over there. There will be a presentation. We're collaborating, the team of us that went collectively together to put that together, so I'll be sharing that at an upcoming board meeting. Second on my list was about Kinder Camp. As I see Mrs. Romberger here, I wanted to do a thank you to Mrs. Romberger and Ms. Skirpon and Mrs. Jarvis and Ms. Schwenk. It works because our 4 kinder teachers take that on. Our 3 regular kinder teachers and our special educators, along with the support of Mrs. Krull, our paraprofessional that was there to support as well. So we have 5 adults working with our students. I think this was our largest group that we've had. And since we started, which has just been, I think, 3, this is our 3rd summer maybe. And so I think the teachers appreciate getting to meet the little ones without everyone else there, but it also gives our kinders an opportunity to be in the buildings and acclimate to where are things without getting, you know, with all the big kids when they come in. And so we also have a soft start for our kindergarten students and their families. So the first student day on the 22nd, the kindergarten teachers will be meeting with small groups of moms and dads to go over what goes on in kindergarten. And then the second and third day is half of each of their classes to get them around the building. And then the 4th student day is when everybody comes simultaneously. And we've been doing that for the last couple of years as well. So, you know, I really thank the teachers. You know, it's posted and any of our educators could sign up for Kinder Camp, but it always puts a smile on my face when the kindergarten teachers say, we'll take that on because we want to meet our kindergarten students. That's what really makes it work out nicely. As Mr. Hendrick said, new teacher orientation begins Thursday, and with that, I'd like to say that we have filled all educator positions that have been posted and ready to roll, so I'm excited about that, and they're all planning to be here on Thursday morning, and as Mr. Cole had said, opening day is on the 19th for our educators, although some of them are working for their flexible professional development day of the 16th. Some will be on site that day, while others are getting their work done online and turning it in, so that they'll be able to be off on the Friday the 16th. So as Mr. Cole said, all board members are welcome to attend on the 19th. I would love to have you. We are starting in the Sayre High School cafeteria at 8 o'clock. Breakfast will be ready at 7:45 for those of us that are early birds and rise a little earlier, maybe want to get here a little earlier, and then probably about 8:30 we'll get started with the morning and welcoming back everybody. And it is actually all staff are invited for that. It's more than our teachers, our educators that will be here, our entire support staff is invited along with our contractors. We invite them as well. So we've been reaching out to those who service us. CSBDH, they've been invited. I reached out to ESS and invited our building-based subs to attend that day. So we're going to have a welcoming of everybody back to our school building. The Flexible Professional Development Day that went out on July 1st has been going quite well, as Mr. Hendrick said. In fact, we have another one on December 2nd, and that information went out as well, and teachers are already working ahead for the December 2nd day. And then the 3rd flexible day we have is on, I think, January 3rd, and that information is being put together. Mrs. Ely did a nice job pulling together some links for me today. Our technology department has upgraded, and we are now Google upgraded, and with the Google upgrade comes Canva accounts for all of our educators and students with that. And so that information will actually go out tomorrow to our staff. And they have some Google trainings that come along with that, so they know what all the features are for those upgrades. So that information will go email to our staff tomorrow, and those who want to read their email in the summer may certainly do that. October, the 7th meeting, Mr. Cool and I both on October 7th will be in Kalahari, since that has been approved. So if you want to look at your calendars, we're moving the board meeting from the 7th to the 8th on that date. Mrs. Shedden will make sure that that calendar invite comes your way. I did note that there were numerous policies on this agenda. I apologize for that, but the administrative team has had 3 public policy meetings since June 24th to keep up with all the policies coming through. And in fact, we just received 12 more within the last week, and we have a policy committee meeting set for tomorrow at 10 a.m., open to the public, and we'll be tackling 6 of those policies, and hopefully the next 6 in a future week or so from that. So at your next meeting, we'll probably have between 6 and 12 to get taken care of. I went through all of that. All right, high school painting was taken care of. Another teacher that has earned a grant, Mrs. Lezak, this summer wrote a grant, and she was in my office last week when Mrs. Morell and I were meeting. She popped in and said hello, and we were talking, and she had said, I just got confirmation that she had received her grant money. So as soon as I have the details of that, I'll bring it to the board. It's wonderful to have our educators write grants, pull that information collectively together, and get service or money for our student body, or a result of something they get to participate in affect our student body. Back on June 26th, the foundation had a fantastic fundraiser event. The foundation meets this week, actually tomorrow, so we'll have some numbers to share and talk about how well we did. And there's a couple venture grants that they'll be looking to potentially approve if they want to. And then finally, last week, I had the privilege of going over to Mansfield. They had invited the superintendents from the local counties, and we had gone over to meet with the provost and have some conversation. And they really want to build a partnership for student opportunities. So I have some opportunities that I want to share with some of our educators. Again, Mrs. Romberger must have had several shout outs. So if you weren't here today and been online, you've heard your name multiple times too. But last year, she was one of our first educators who's the advisor at FTA, took our Future Teachers of America over to Mansfield. So I think she might have started some of that ball rolling and giving our kids some opportunity. They now want to open their doors and have other opportunities. So we have 2 graduates that are on staff now as our music department. So I want to see what opportunities might be available for them. I have a little pitch for our Odyssey the Mind teacher to advisor to potentially go over to the campus and have an activity or 2 as well throughout the course of the year. So we're going to tap into they opened their door, so we're going to step on through there and see what we can get to use of their facilities. So I know that was more than normal, but thank you.
Jill, just a question. So
Sure.
On the 19th, will that be the first look we get at the board scorecard on the 19th?
Yes,
Okay.
so I've started the draft of it, but it was not ready for it
Yeah.
to be brought forward
Yeah.
tonight, so that I'll have it ready on the
Great.
19th, sir.
Thank you.
Yep. The other one is the survey that was passed at the June meeting. We are working on that diligently as well. And I think that was set for October,
Yeah.
but we will bring it to the board before that to
Yep.
take a look at it.
Yep.
Okay?
Thank you, Dr. Delosio, and now we'll head into our future meetings. Our next regular scheduled meeting of the Sayre School Board will be on August 19th, location to be announced. Athletics and Recreation may meet on the 12th of August, 5:30 here in the library, here at the high school. Building and Grounds on August the 12th, 6:30 p.m. in the conference room. So, anything else for the good of the school district here this evening?